So this is back to school with custom GPTs. It is going to be all about time-saving tools for teachers, which is wonderful. We know that's one commodity that we never have enough of is time. So we're going to be thinking about creating custom GPTs or gems. And you'll note on this slide, there is a little caveat at the bottom here. To create a custom GPT, you need a GPT Plus account, or to create a gem, you need a Google for Education account. So those of you who are in Google districts, you have a Google for Education account, so you should be able to create a gem most likely. Or you have the option, if you have a GPT Plus account, we'll be learning how to create a custom GPT. So there's a couple platform options here for you. All right, so my name again is Meredith Ward Hill. I'm the Northeast Digital Teaching and Learning Consultant with DPI. Prior to this role, I was a district level media specialist in Pitt County schools. Before that, I was a school librarian. And before that, I was a reading teacher. So I'm really excited to be here to talk to you today about custom GPTs and gems. And that's just a little bit about me. I would love to know a tiny bit about you. So we're going to do an emoji intro. If you could please put in the chat an emoji or a GIF that represents how your week is going or how you're feeling today. Just kind of a little introduction to you and where you're at right now. We know back to school can be a really crazy, busy, hectic time. It can also be a really exciting time. So would love to see in the chat just where you're at, an emoji or a GIF. So I'm going to escape this presentation. I'm going to pull up my chat so that I can see what y'all are about. Oh boy. Yes, we're wild and crazy. We're happy. We're strong. We're here 100%. We're dancing maybe for joy, I hope. Oh, it's raining on Kendra. Kendra, I'm sorry. Charmaine's upside down. Michael, oh, up the stairs, back down the stairs. Which way am I going, right? And oh my goodness, we're a little bit sleepy. Also, we're feeling brainy and smart. We're happy. Oh my goodness, lots of good things happening. Okay, wonderful. Thank y'all for that just quick intro to how you're feeling today. Again, I know this is a hectic time of year, so I appreciate you choosing to spend this time with me. I hope it will be helpful to you. All right, so our objectives for our session today, we're going to understand what GPTs and GEMs are and how they're different from base level chatbots. We're going to explore some educational use cases. We're going to learn how to build our own GPT or GEM, and hopefully we're going to leave with a draft of a custom AI assistant that you can be ready to use this school year. So, yeah, I love it. I love it. So we're going to start with some definitions. So we're thinking about, again, custom GPTs and GEMs. And basically, they're both custom AI assistants. They're just on different platforms. So a custom GPT is built on ChatGPT. It's a mini version of ChatGPT that you get to configure yourself. You will give it a role, some instructions, some sample prompts, and you can even upload some files that it can refer to if you want to. It remembers those instructions and it responds the same way every time. So you don't have to retype the directions. So you know, those of you who already use chatbots regularly, that it will remember some things about you. Some things go into its memory file. So if you have a login and you're using your account, it will maintain some pieces of information that you share, but it doesn't maintain everything. And so when you start a new chat, you often have to give a good amount of context to get some high quality output. With a custom GPT or a gem, it will hold on to those instructions and the context and the role and the reference files. It will hold on to that every time. So you don't have to enter that information every time. So that's what we mean when we say remember. It's not really thinking, but it is holding on to that information, saving that information to refer to every time you use the custom chatbot. And then Gem is the same idea, except it's in Gemini instead of ChatGPT. So it's your own custom AI assistance. You're going to give it some guidance, some samples, and it can be fully integrated with your Google Drive. So you can attach Google Docs or other Drive files. And again, it will maintain that information so that you don't have to retype it every time you start a new chat within your custom chatbot or your Gem. So those are just kind of some overview definitions, but it's important for us to know and understand what is the difference. Why would we want to use one of these custom AI assistants rather than just always using the regular base model chatbot? So there's a few things to know related to memory and consistency and sharing. So with the base model, just logging into ChatGPT and using the base model chatbot or Gemini, like I said a minute ago, it's going to forget some of your context between chats. So you might have to continue to tell it, you know, I am an English teacher. I have 30 students. They are this age. Here are some special things to know about them. You know, but if you are using a custom GPT or a Gem, you can put that information into the instructions and it will hold it each time. Consistency, depending on what you're using it for, the level of detail that you have to provide in each prompt can be extensive if you want consistent, high quality output. But with a custom GPT or Gem, you can start from your own customized knowledge base. So for example, if you were going to build a Gem to help you with lesson planning, you could upload a template of your lesson plan and you wouldn't have to share that with it every single time. You could put it in the knowledge file for the Gem so that it can refer to it every time and it knows every time you want that kind of a lesson plan. You wouldn't have to include that in your prompt each time. It would already know it. And then sharing with ChatGPT or Gemini, you can share links to individual conversations by clicking the share link, but you don't share the entire chatbot itself. With a custom GPT, you can share that GPT with people of your choosing. So for example, let's say that you are in a third grade PLC and you have created a custom GPT where you've uploaded all of your third grade standards and you're using it for lesson planning, you could share that with other people in your PLC to use as well. Now, GEMS does not have that feature yet, but it is in the works. So you cannot yet share a GEM publicly, but you will be able to at some point. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about what is the difference between the base model custom ChatGPT and Gemini and the custom ChatGPT or the custom GPT and the Gem. Now let's talk about the difference between which platform you should use when you create your AI assistant. So this will hopefully help you decide, do you want to build it in ChatGPT or do you want to build it in Gemini? So strengths of a custom GPT, really good at following instructions, good at file handling, and of course, as I mentioned a second ago, you are able to share it. Strengths of a Gem, that Google Drive integration is really good if you are in a Google district and you are already making all kinds of things in your Google Workspace already. Also, there's a free tier available and it should be free to you. Again, if you have that Google for Education account, it should be no cost to you. Custom GPT is best for text-heavy tasks, document analysis, template generation, and then a Gem is really good for, again, that Google Workspace integration and also visual content. And then, of course, the cost. That is how a lot of people are deciding right now which way to go. If you don't have a GPT Plus account, then you likely want to go with a Gem, which again is free for that Google for Education accounts. All right. So, what are some benefits of having a custom AI assistant? We already know that we can utilize AI for time savings. But if we create our own custom AI assistant, then we can save even more time by front loading it with all of the information that it needs for those repetitive tasks. So again, I go back to lesson planning. You know that you're going to be lesson planning all year long. You know what your template is. You know what your standards are. Instead of having to share that with the chatbot each time, you can create this custom AI assistant to hold that knowledge for you and save time on your prompting. Also, that consistency is really important. Once we have given it the instructions and the knowledge files, it will give us that consistent output that we are looking for, that professional tone, as well as alignment to our district expectations. So perhaps we have perhaps a pacing guide from our district that we could upload, things like that, so that we know we are aligned with what the district expectations are. And then, of course, we get that personalization piece. We can add the context to our chatbot and give it all the information it needs so it can adapt to our specific role, our grade level, our subject, as well as our student needs. And then we have that quality control. We have those templates that we can provide, and we can give it guardrails, which I'll talk more about in a little bit, where we can say, look, here are the behaviors I want you to perform, and here are the things I don't want you to perform. So lots of benefits here for educators. Okay. Teacher use cases. These are just three kind of broad use cases that you might want to consider. I'm going to share some additional use cases in just a few minutes, but as you're thinking about, and we are going to have some time today to work on building your own custom GPT or gem. So be thinking about what kind of GPT or gem would you like to create. And I'll say you're going to want to focus on one task that you do very often. This might be lesson planning. It could be parent or family communication, perhaps with emails or newsletters. So thinking about those tasks that you do quite often throughout the year, that you could train a GPT to help you do that task more efficiently, more consistently, and more quickly. So those are just some sample use cases. So what I'd like to do now is give you a minute to try out a custom GPT so that you can see the power that is available to you, and that we'll learn how to create ourselves today. But I want you to try one yourself before we create our own. So the one that we're going to try today was built by my colleague Vera Cubero, who's with us today and listening while she drives. And Vera created a custom GPT to help teachers embed AI literacy into their pre-existing lesson plans. So you think about, let's say you're I don't know, an American history teacher, and you're getting ready to teach a lesson on the causes of the Revolutionary War. And you know how important it is to embed AI literacy into your instruction. And you already have a fantastic lesson that is on the causes of the Revolutionary War, but you want students to have some AI literacy embedded into this lesson. Vera has created a custom chatbot that has been trained on this framework right here called the Zero to Infinity framework. And it is a continuum of building AI literacy skills in your students, all the way from starting with lessons that don't have any AI used in them at all, up to fully integrated AI empowered lessons. And you can see here, this is a great framework for teaching your students what your expectations are on different lesson plans. So, for example, you might say, at this time, I want you to do a level 0 lesson. And if you have taught them about this framework, they will know that means an AI-free lesson. Or you might say, for this part of the lesson, I want you to do level 1, meaning you can use AI for brainstorming, but that's it. No AI content in the final submission. So it's a great framework to use just to teach your students about your AI expectations, but it also is a fantastic basis for this custom GPT that Vera has built. So I'm hoping that you all have been able to pull up this presentation on your computer. The link is in the chat. And I want to give you a few minutes to try out this custom GPT. And so what you will do is you are going to copy paste one of these following samples into the custom GPT. So we've got the first sample here is create a 30-minute level 1 lesson plan for first graders on the following standard. And you've got a standard list here. The second one is 45-minute level 2 lesson plan for 7th graders. And then the third is a level 3 5-day unit with 75-minute lessons for high school math 2 class. And so not only will this custom GPT embed AI literacy into a pre-existing lesson plan you already have, it will create one from scratch for you. So I know that you probably did not know that you might need a lesson plan for today's session. So you kind of have an option here. You can either, if you have easy access to one, you can copy paste one you already have, or if you don't have easy access to a lesson plan, you can use one of the samples here. And I'm going to escape out of presentation mode just so I can show you what this looks like. So I'm just going to copy paste this first sample here. And I'm going to click this link right here that says Custom GPT link. It's the 0 to Infinity Assistant. I'm going to pull it up. And you will notice that I go right into ChatGPT and it takes me directly to this custom GPT that Vera has built. And I can click, I am ready to get started. If I click it, it is going to explain that 0 to Infinity framework to me. Or I can just come down here to the text box and I can type in my request, which I just copied, create a 30-minute level 1 lesson plan for first graders. So I'm just going to paste that in there. That's option number 1. And then, of course, I'm going to hit the arrow and it is going to create this level 1 lesson plan for me. 30 minutes, because I asked for 30 minutes. It's going to be aligned to L.1.4 to that standard. And here we can see that it has created this lesson plan for us. Here's the standard. And here's where it explains the AI integration level. So I asked for a level 1 lesson plan. And if we go back to that framework, we remember that a level 1 lesson plan is AI assisted. So it is explaining, here's what AI assisted means, and here's how they're going to use AI in this lesson plan. It tells me the materials, the objectives, the lesson plan breakdown, and I can go through and see how AI has been embedded in here. That's option number 1 for you. Option number 2, if you'd like to do this a different way, I have some sample lesson plans linked here that you can copy paste. So my suggestion would be perhaps that you just copy this first one, which is the level 0 lesson. That means it's an AI-free lesson. So this would be an example of how you would take a pre-existing lesson plan that you already have that does not have any AI embedded at all. So you would copy that and you would come back over here. Whoops, I'm sorry. You would come back here and you would say, make this a level, whatever level you want. I'm going to say a level 2 this time, a level 2 lesson plan. And then I'm just going to paste my lesson plan. Here it is that I've copied. I'm going to paste it in here. This is a lesson plan on pollution in ecosystems for 8th grade. So I'm going to say, just make this a level 2 lesson plan. So it will take my pre-existing lesson plan and it's going to think about it for a second, and then it's going to embed some AI literacy skills at level 2 into my pre-existing lesson plan. So we can see here, it has maintained the same title, it's maintained the same objective, And then you can see where it has started to build in some AI literacy topics built into what I already had in that lesson plan. So that's your other option. So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to try out either one of the sample lesson plans, or you can try one of the kind of a create a lesson plan from scratch here. And I'm going to stop screen sharing and give everybody a minute to do that. And then I want to hear your thoughts about how it went. So let me stop sharing. Hello, I can see a couple faces again. Would love to see more faces. And then would love to hear how this goes for you as you try this custom GPT so you can kind of experience what it's like to utilize a custom GPT. Oh my gosh, that's Jen Iden. Hi, Jen Iden.
Hey Meredith,
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad you're here.
Good. I'm glad to be here.
All right, folks, give you just a few minutes. I'm going to be quiet for, let's see, it's 3:53. I'm going to be quiet until 3:55. So try this out, see how it goes, and be ready to let me know how it went. Okay, I'm going to hush.
Meredith, you have a question in the chat.
Yes. Hi, Jamie. I just put the link to the presentation in the chat. So if you will click that link, let me tell you what slide number we're on. We are on slide number 11. Let me know if you have any trouble, Jamie. You're welcome. All right, I said I'd be quiet till 3:55, but it felt like that wasn't very long. Do you need more time? Yes, no, no. I see Kendra says no. How about Chesley's good? Hi, Chesley. It's good to see you. Okay, all right. So don't need more time is what I'm seeing. We don't need more time. All right, so let's get back to the presentation. I will say, I hope that you will bookmark this custom GPT that Vera made. It is fantastic as you are quite busy, but you're thinking about the importance of AI literacy. We know that you need to teach your standards and that you only have a limited amount of time to do that. So it doesn't mean that you have to teach something different. It just means how you teach your standard would shift a little bit to embed those AI literacy skills. So it's a great way to quickly and easily go ahead and throw some AI literacy into the things that you're already teaching, the lessons that you know already work well and are aligned to your standards. Okay, so let's get back to the presentation. Let me share my screen again with you. Here we go. All right, you have had the chance to experience a custom GPT. Now let's talk about, oh, wait, hold on. How did that go? Will somebody unmute because I can't see you anymore and share with me what your thoughts were about what went well or what you wish it had done differently? Practicing wait time. Let's have at least, can we get two people to share what you liked about it and what you wish it had done differently?
I liked that it was super easy and I could get exactly what I was looking for every time.
Yes. Yes, easy. You get what you're looking for every time. So easy and consistent. Awesome. Can I get one more person to share? A brave soul.
I like that you can just click on the link and it take you straight there.
Yes, you don't have to search for it. It's super easy. And then once you use it, when you go back to your ChatGPT account, on the left-hand side, it will be there under custom GPTs. And you can just click it. It's right there, ready for you to use. Super easy. Okay, thank you to my two brave souls for sharing. I appreciate that very much. All right, so let's talk about what do you need? What are the building blocks to creating your own GPT or gem? So they're pretty much the same thing, just each platform calls them something slightly different. So for a GPT, a custom GPT, you've got a name and a description. Your description is just like one short sentence of what the purpose of that GPT is. And then for a gem, you've got a name and a short intro, which is the same thing, just a real short, what's the purpose of this GPT? So like Vera's, for example, might say something like, this zero to infinity AI integration assistant is to help teachers embed AI literacy skills into their lesson plans, something like that. Then you have more detailed instructions. So you'll have like a larger text box where you can put in more details other than just that description. And so in GPT, it's called instructions. In GEM, it's called detailed guidance. And then for both of them, you're going to have some conversation starters, like, some sample conversation starters like, I am a teacher and I am planning a lesson, and will you please give me, your lesson plan topics that you would like me to create a lesson plan on, some kind of conversation starter. Then you have knowledge files or attachments. And this is, to me, this is one of the really exciting parts about custom GPTs and gems is that you can give it what you want it to pull from. So if I am in a district where we use learning focused lesson plans, I can give it a learning focused template to look at and to know each time this is the lesson plan template I want. Or I can give it my standards. Or if I'm creating something to help me with parent communication, I could give it some sample communication that I've done before. Like maybe I've already created my own back to school newsletter, but I'm going to want all my newsletters this year to be in the same format. So I can give it that back to school newsletter so it knows my format. And then we will have some capabilities and actions or some extensions and visibility settings, which again, we're going to talk more in detail about. I'm going to give you some specific instructions to help you when you're building your own. So those are kind of the building blocks. Those are the things that it's going to ask you for as you are building your own AI assistant. So when you're building your own AI assistant, we talked about the importance of those instructions or guidelines. And as you know, those of you who regularly use chatbots already, the more context and details you can provide, the higher quality output you get. And that's going to be the case when you're training your AI assistant as well. And I want to tell you too, our objective today, one of them was to leave with a draft of an assistant. I want you to think about your creation of this AI assistant as kind of being a long-term project. You will start it today, and then you might, after you use it for a couple days, think, oh gosh, I really wish it would do XYZ. You can go back and edit it and give it more context, more details, so that it knows more specifically what exactly it is that you want. So you can continue to tweak it and improve it as you use it throughout the year. So as you are thinking about what kinds of things you want it to do, it's important that we include kind of all of these different criteria to help it give us that high quality output. So we want to give it context, first of all. What role do we want it to play? Perhaps we want it to be an expert lesson planner. Maybe I'm a principal and I'm going to use it to help provide high quality feedback after an observation. So maybe I would say you are an experienced principal who is who's an expert at giving high quality feedback. So we're telling it what we want it to be able to do. And then we're going to give it the context that it needs to be able to do that. So if I'm using it as a lesson planner, yes. Did somebody ask? I'm sorry. Do feel free to stop me and ask me if you need to. So I might say, if I'm asking it to be a lesson planner, I might want to give it my standards. I might want to say how many students I have. I might say something like, I have 3 students with perhaps learning disabilities. I have 2 AIG students. I have 3 students who are multi-language learners. I could give it that kind of context so it knows as it's planning lessons that it's going to need to differentiate for all my students. And then what specific behaviors do I want? I want you to create a lesson plan. I want the lesson plan to have standards. I want it to have objectives. I want it to have maybe an activating strategy. I want it to have I do, we do, you do. I want a rubric. I want an assessment. You can tell it exactly what behaviors you want. The goals, what outcomes you want it to achieve. I want a high quality lesson plan. It should have depth of knowledge questions. It should be aligned to Bloom's, whatever outcomes you want. And then constraints, what should never happen. You should never ask me for private information of students. Never be unprofessional. Those kinds of constraints. And then output, what format do you want the response to be? Let's say you're providing that feedback to a teacher. Maybe you want a bulleted list, or maybe you want glows and grows, or maybe you want a narrative. Maybe you want a paragraph. And then review. You want it to ask you for feedback. Once it's created, whatever the output is, you want it to follow up with something like, would you like me to create additional resources to support this lesson plan? Or did this feedback meet your expectations? How can I improve it? So you want it to ask you a follow-up question after it has created the output. So you'll want to include these things in your instructions.
Meredith, I just wanted to take a second to highlight something that Kendra had shared in the chat.
Yes.
And Kendra, correct me if I interpreted this wrong, but I think what she was saying is if you are someone who has already been working to create custom school AI spaces, it's a similar process.
Yes. Yes, Kendra, thank you for saying that. That is absolutely right. It is a similar process. So if you are already using School AI and you're creating spaces or custom chatbots for your students, it's very similar to that. With ChatGPT and Gemini, you are at this point on those platforms, you are creating custom AI assistants for you, for adults, for your work, not student facing, but for you. I do believe that Google is coming out with lots of new Gemini features, including some ability to utilize Gemini features in Google Classroom. So there may be at some point, I think fairly soon, the ability to share gems in Google Classroom, but I'm not sure that it is there yet. But things are changing all the time. Yes.
Meredith.
Yes.
They announced that they will soon make them shareable with other adults on the same domain, but it is on the roadmap to make them shareable to students in Google Classroom in the coming months. So yeah, it is on the roadmap.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Vera. I appreciate that. Okay, and thank you, Kendra, for sharing about School AI. All right, so as we're creating these and we're thinking about the instructions and the context and the knowledge files that we share, it's really important that we keep safety and privacy at the top of our minds. We want to make sure that we never, ever, ever share any personally identifiable information with any chatbot, and that includes our own custom chatbots as well. So when we think about things that are safe, like safe files to share with it, it's fine to share things like blank templates and rubrics, curriculum standards. You remember how we said we might want to align things to our district expectations? So we could have like things from the school handbook or things that are available on the school website. If we're doing family communication, we could upload sample family communication templates like the newsletter I mentioned, as long as there's no contact information in any of that. So things that are blank and things that are public and things that are easily available, to anybody in the education space. But we're not uploading anything with student names, grades, UIDs, IEPs, 504s, behavioral records, no personal information about families, including their contact information, no communication that is confidential, and also copyrighted materials. I know that we do operate in the education sphere, so we are allowed to use up to 10% of a copyrighted work, but you would not want to put an entire copyrighted work into a custom chatbot. So for example, the Learning Focused Lesson Plan template is copyrighted, but it is only a piece of the entire lesson learning focused framework that has lots of published information that goes along with it. So that template would be fine to upload. All right, that is enough of me talking. Let's get started so that you can have some work time. It is time for you to decide, are you going to use Gemini or are you going to use ChatGPT? So if you use Gemini, both of these platforms are linked here in the presentation. So you'll just click whichever one you want. And then you can see in these screenshots how to navigate to create a new AI assistant. So for Gemini, you'll click this Gemini link, or you'll just go straight to Gemini. On the left-hand side, you're going to click Explore Gems. And then about in the middle of the page, there's a button that says New Gem. So you will click that. Or you will click ChatGPT. On the left-hand side, you'll click GPTs, and then you'll click the button that says Create. And Jonathan, I can see your hand is up. What you got, Jonathan?
Can I log into ChatGPT Plus from a different device, or do I have to go through this link from the presentation?
You can do whatever you want. You can get to it however you want. So if you want to do it on your phone, you can. If you want to do it on a tablet or on a laptop or on a different desktop, you can do whatever you want. However you want to get there is great. Good question. Thank you, Jonathan.
So you have to have the ChatGPT Plus to do this?
That is correct. But if you do not have ChatGPT Plus, you can use your school Google account and make a gem in Gemini.
Is one better than the other?
That depends on how you define better. I will say a lot of people like to use the gems because it is integrated with your Google Workspace. So it's really easy to connect, a Google Doc or a presentation or a file that you already have saved in your workspace. But a lot of people like ChatGPT just because that's the chatbot that they're used to using the most. So really it really is up to you. Either one has pros and cons.
Okay,
good question. Thank you. So I'll give everybody a second to decide which one you want to use. And then I want you to have a kind of instructional document to help you as you're building your custom AI assistant. So I'm going to click forward in the presentation. And the next thing that I'm going to want you to click on is you can either click this document right here, or you can click these words on the side. And it is going to ask you to force a copy of a guide to help you make your custom GPT or your gem. So everybody's going to get to make your own copy of this. So you can take notes on it, you can do some planning on it, whatever you need to do. But I want to walk you through what is in this guide, and then I'm going to give you work time. So make sure that you have created a copy of this guide. There's a lot of things in here that hopefully will be helpful to you. You'll notice on the left-hand side, when you open it, it might have these 3 lines over here. If it does, just click that, and then you'll be able to see all the tabs in the document, or you can just use under table of contents. All of these different tabs are hyperlinked here, either one you want to do. First is the privacy and safety guide. This will look familiar to you, things that are safe to upload and things that you should not upload. As you look through this privacy and safety guide, you will notice there's a checklist here when you're writing your instructions, just things to remember, not to use any PII, of course. Make sure that you're only using information that's publicly available. You're following your district's AI policies. And you are regularly looking at the files you upload to make sure that they are still appropriate and that they are still relevant. And then you're setting appropriate sharing permissions. So make sure you keep these private until you know for sure that it's a working AI assistant, especially, obviously on ChatGPT is the only one you can share it on right now, that it's giving high quality, reliable output. You don't want to share it until it's doing a good job. And you've got some ongoing safety practices here. We're regularly reviewing those files we've uploaded. We're making sure that the output is reliable. We're only sharing assistants that are doing a good job, don't contain any sensitive information, of course. And then we're using professional boundaries. This is important. Please don't use AI to make personnel decisions, to make discipline recommendations, anything sensitive like that. It's important that the human is at the center of everything that you do, including how you use your AI assistant. There's some tips here for what to do if you accidentally upload sensitive information, but please, 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 please be very vigilant and don't do that. There's tips on using AI generated content with students and families. Transparency is really important. And then there's some legal and ethical considerations here around copyright, ethics, and student rights. It is important that you read these things as you are creating your assistant and using it and thinking about sharing it with others or not. So make sure you follow those. Then there's some role-based ideas for AI assistants here. So we've talked about some of these already: lesson plan generator, helping with parent communication, assessment creator, classroom management helper. All those are for teachers. We also have some ideas here for instructional coaches, administrators, and school librarians. So feel free to look through these if you're wondering, what kind of custom AI assistant might I want to create? And we said that you want to focus on one task. So you might want to make one for lesson planning, and then you can make another one for family communication. So you can make as many as you would like to make, but you really want to think about focusing each one on one task so that it will do that one task well. Then this could be very helpful for you when I kind of release you to do some work time. This is a kind of a guide for all of those instructions that we talked about earlier, and ensuring that your instructions are detailed and high quality so you can get that consistent high quality output. So what we have here on this first page is some suggestions for what to include for your instructions. And then on the second page, we have some sample instructions that you could use to get started. So this first one here, basic instructions for any role. This is just kind of a basic being able to edit this sort of a template for creating an AI assistant where you can put in the role you want it to play, you can put in the purpose, you can put in the audience. So it's kind of just a generic set of instructions. And then there's some samples here. Let's say you want to create something to help you with communication. There's some sample instructions here you could use to start with. Here's some sample instructions for a lesson planner AI assistant. And here's some sample instructions for some observation feedback. So if you're not sure how to get started with your instructions, you could start with one of these and then tweak it to meet your specific needs. Also, I know some people really like to plan things out before they get started. So we kind of have a planning guide here where you can just sort of type in your thoughts and ideas before you begin building. That's there if you are interested and you want to use it. So this tab called AI Assistant Planning Guide, that could be very helpful to you as you get started building your assistant. And then we have specific platform instructions. So exactly what each step of the process will look like. So if you're going to make a custom GPT, you can follow the steps on the left-hand side of the column and it will walk you through exactly what to put in each spot. Or if you're going to make a gem, you can use the right-hand column side and it's step-by-step exactly what to do and what to enter to create your gem. And then once you have created your GPT or your gem, you may run into some things that need troubleshooting, right? So we've got here, this first section of this tab is about testing out your assistant. So testing to see, will it do those basic functions the way I want it to? If I ask it to refer to one of the files I've uploaded, does it do it? The tone, is it being professional? Is it being appropriate? Boundaries, if you prompt it to do something outside of its role, will it do it? Will it decline? How does it respond? How do you want it to respond? If you give it a vague request, will it ask for clarifying questions? If not, you can put that in the instructions. Length, if you ask for a short response or a detailed response, will it adjust appropriately? So these are some things once you've made your GPT or gem, you can try to see how it responds. And then we've got here some troubleshooting. So let's say it's giving you too generic a response. Well, probably it's because your instructions are a little bit vague. So your fix would be to add some more specific examples. If the problem is that it's not looking at the file you uploaded, maybe the file is not referenced in your prompt. So you want to mention specific documents in the instructions. So you could say, you know, in the instructions, I want you to make a lesson plan. When you make a lesson plan, I want it to be in the template format that I uploaded in the document called Learning Focused Lesson Plan or whatever you called it. So you'll see here, we've got these, you know, some troubles you might have with your GPT or gem, what the problem might be and how you can fix it. And again, here are some additional, you know, some troubleshooting commands. If it's not working properly, you can talk to it to try to figure out what the issue is. Here are some prompts you can try. And then here are some specific troubleshooting suggestions for ChatGPT and for Gemini, as well as links to both of their help centers. And then just something to note, neither one of these will take audio or video files or password protected files. So when you go to upload your files, you can do PDF, you can do doc, you can do text, you can do spreadsheet, CSV, JPEG, PNG, but not, again, not those audio, video, or password protected files. Okay, so this guide is here to help you. I am going to, it's 4:21. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Let's do 5 minutes to start building and just see how it goes. I'm going to be quiet, but I will be here for questions. Any questions before we start? Everybody know what to do? Yes? All right. I'm going to hush. It's 4:21. I'm going to be quiet till 4:26, but I'm here if you have questions. Okay. Everybody build.
I don't see create a gem when I go to my Gemini.
Okay, sorry, I was having a hard time finding my mute button. Okay, let me share my screen with you so we can see it together. Well, there we go. Okay, so I'm in Gemini. If I come over here to the left-hand side and I click where it says expand menu, so it's these
Yeah.
3 lines on the
Mhm.
top left corner,
I
and
get
then
that.
okay, and then it says new chat, and then it says gems, and then it will say explore gems.
Mhm.
If you will click explore gems, and then kind of in the
Oh,
middle of your page, I know it's kind of hard to find, you click new gem,
okay.
and then that's where you will get like your name, your instructions, where you can
Mhm.
add the knowledge files, all of those things are there.
Okay, so you can have a gem for every different class. I teach high
Yes,
school, so
ma'am. You sure
okay, this
can.
this is great.
Good, wonderful. That's great. Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have another question. On the instructions, okay,
Mm-hmm.
on the instructions, so for example, I teach career management.
Mm-hmm.
So I could upload the blueprint objectives, like
Yes.
1.01, blah, 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 1 point, 2.01, and so forth. I could upload those along with the 0 to 2. I really like that.
Yes. Yes.
Along, I could upload those objectives and then that chart.
Yes, so that you don't have to use 2 different GPTs. You could have that 0 to infinity framework
Hmm.
and your standards and your lesson plan template. You could put all of that in there. And then in your instructions, you would say something like, um, I I have a 90-minute class. I want you to be a lesson plan builder. I've got 30 students in this class. Here are some of the special things about the students that you need to know. Of course, you're not putting any names. You would just put,
Right, right.
maybe some reading levels or struggles or challenges or, whatever. But without any names, of course. And then you could put for every lesson plan, I want you to include this, your whole, spiel of everything that you want. When you create the lesson plan, I want you to refer to the standards that I've uploaded. I want you to I will tell you what level lesson plan I want aligned to that 0 to infinity framework, and I want it to be in this format. So you're giving it all the instructions. So everything that you, like if you were telling me to build a lesson plan for you, you're like, I'm your assistant or something, or maybe I'm your intern and you're telling me all the information, give all of that to the gem or the GPT so that it knows.
Okay.
And as you work with it, you will see like maybe it does a really good job at one piece, but it forgets to XYZ, whatever thing. Go back and look at your instructions and add more detail into your instructions. Like maybe you're like, I don't know why it's not giving me a concluding activity or an exit ticket. Well, maybe that's not in your instructions, so you'll be able to go back and tweak and make it exactly what you want it to be.
So for the lesson plan template, we're high school, so I use Canvas and I put everything on Canvas. And luckily we don't have a micromanager for a principal. But I could do a template like opening objectives.
You could just make a doc of what, and you could have that just real generic be your template, so refer to this document called lesson plan template or whatever, and include all of the things that I have in that document.
Wow. Okay, this is fun.
Yeah, it is fun. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we are at 4:29. We've only got a minute left. So my hope is that everybody has had a chance to at least start your instructions, and that you'll have that guide with you, that document guide that can continue to, support you and provide a lot of detail as you're building out your GPT or your gem. What thoughts, questions, wonders, comments do you have before our time is up?
Is there a link to the student AI usage continuum?
That framework? That is a great question. I'm going to put the DPI AI guidelines, a link to those in the chat. That framework is in there. And then there are also lots of other frameworks as well. Like there's one that teaches students how to use AI ethically. There's one that teaches them how to prompt. So there's several in there, and there are links in there also that will allow you to download those graphics, including that 0 to infinity framework. That came out real big, but those are the AI guidelines, and there's, again, lots of good frameworks in there, including that one. Good question. What other thoughts or questions might y'all have? Oh, thank you, Jen. Jen put the direct link to that framework there for you, so you don't have to search for it. We are at time. The only other thing that I have for you, yes, Molly, me too. That would be really nice. That would be really nice. It will be important. Molly said in the chat, she's excited when Jim and I will allow you to share gems with students. It will be really important to do some rigorous testing of your gem before you share it with students, just to really check and make sure that the output is appropriate, that it's following the guardrails that you set, that you make it really clear about the things that you don't want it to do. Do not talk about anything that is outside of this standard, for example, because students we know they'll test the boundaries. So we want to make sure that we do that rigorous testing ourselves first.